Hey guys, today I'm here on a project that we just finished, I will say a few weeks ago. And we're here with our client, the owner of this house, who is gonna talk to us about the experience working with Mel's Builders. And thank you, Felix, for being here with us. It's a pleasure, and thank you for letting us be part of this construction.
Very happy to have you.
Thank you. Can you tell a little bit about you?
Sure. So my name's Felix. I'm an owner builder. This house survived the Palisades Fire, amazingly. We were under construction during the process, and I needed to find a framer for the house. And I'd interviewed a bunch of people, and I was just about ready to choose when one of my neighbors said, "Oh, we really like someone we've met." And I thought, okay, just about to sign a contract, but let me see. I met Mel, and I will say this, I have built in 6 different countries over the last 30 years, and I've met a lot of folks, and you kind of have to go a little bit by instinct here. And something just told me that Mel was going to do a good job. And he has a very bold statement on his proposal. It said on budget and on time, and I said, well, there are not too many contractors I know that really stick with that, but I can say that Mel stuck with it. He did a great job on the house, and very happy that we chose you, and in fact happy to recommend you to other people.
Thank you. And what type of project did you hire Mel's Builder for?
So on this house, again, I'm the owner builder, but I needed framing, and we had a challenge with this house. It was originally built in 1961 and then added on. The problem with this house is that when the people added on, they spent a lot of money on like expensive bathroom fixtures, but they didn't think so much about doing a great job on framing. And whenever I do a project, I always say I want to make sure my children feel comfortable living in it. If I have a renter in the house, I never want to hear a problem from them. If I decide to sell the house, I always want to make sure it's completely solid. So I tend to overbuild a little bit, so I'd also given the structural engineer some extra parameters about what we needed in terms of steel. And after the fires, I had witnessed my neighbor's sad story of his house. He had just finished construction, the fires hit, and his house caved in, I'd say, within about 30 minutes. And so I went back to the structural engineer, and I had him add a little bit more steel, because I said, in a worst case, I want to make sure that this house stands so that you have time to evacuate or get more things out. So we asked you to handle all the framing, all the foundation work. So you brought in, the crane to bring in all the steel moment frames. You did obviously all the woodwork. You had your guys do some new foundation work, and yeah, it was a complicated job actually. And I really also liked the fact that when your supervisors came in, they were here for almost 2 weeks before you could hear a hammer hitting, because they were here measuring everything and looking at every little thing, and I thought that's great too. I really want to make sure they've got a sense of it. There were some items that gave me headaches at night. I was thinking, oh, how are we going to fix this? And we got through it.
Yeah, so this is part of the process that we learned through the years, rebuilding. When you're working with existing, usually we go there before to inspect, to take measurements, because there is always misinformation, right, on the plan.
Right.
And according to what you have is what is on the plan.
Yep.
So that's what the guys were doing here, and that's typical, like we do these extra steps to try to avoid headache in the future.
Right.
Because we knew when we started framing what we will need to deal with. Right, basically that's a pre-construction or like pre-inspection, and that's what we do, in every project.
Yeah, well, that's good, and it paid off, and it just gave me confidence that we would get them all solved, and I realized the first 2 weeks I was still like, oh, how are we going to get these things worked out? And they worked out, so it was great.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're gonna walk to the second floor,
okay,
and we'll continue our conversation.
Sounds great. Okay,
so we are here on the second floor. which is our more common areas, open spaces. We have on this side, which is like family room, living room area, right?
Yeah.
We have high ceilings. We did the steel beams there to make the space bigger and to be able to get more space.
That's right.
What was your experience like during the construction? All those things that you were thinking that worries you.
Yeah.
What was it?
Well, particularly the kitchen area, you know, we expanded and added almost 500 square feet. It was a little over 450, I think. And there's the big steel moment frame there. How to even get those in. I'd seen another crane on the street and it was just a huge headache, but honestly, this went really seamlessly. Your guys were in and out fairly quickly and they had it set, so that was good. I was definitely nervous, and it's still a challenge we're finding out as we do and this is not on you, this is more an engineering issue, that trying to marry, you know, all the old lumber with new and onto the new steel, we have a lot of, you know, complex sort of structural issues, and you made them work, and now we're trying to figure out, well, how do we run the AC and make those things? And there were solutions figured out so that would work. And I think that gave me, was a big sigh of relief is the bottom line, that we'd figure it out. So.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, when you're doing design build for new construction, usually it's very tricky because the architect or the designer, they don't think about all the MVPs.
Yeah.
Where you will run them. They just see the big picture and the look of the house.
That's right.
This one, because it's existing, is remodeled, so we're working with existing, so it's even more challenge.
That's right.
To get around with the AC especially, because that's where you need the bigger space.
Yeah, absolutely. That is definitely still something we're figuring out, but I was glad to have you out here with the AC guy walking it through, even though you were kind of done. You know, you're helping me with some consulting and figuring out how we'll solve these problems. And the structural engineer, he did his job. He did exactly, you know, where he needed to put things.
Right.
But of course, he's not really thinking about, he's just thinking, oh, I made it secure. Now it's up to the rest of us to kind of figure out how to make it, you know, work.
Correct, yeah, and go around. So we're gonna go to the upper level to continue our conversation.
Sure. Okay. New stairs are one of my favorite parts, actually.
Yeah.
That worked out pretty well.
Looks nice.
And this, so I'm actually gonna stop right here.
Okay.
Because I just wanted to mention, so I didn't think of this, and I'm essentially the designer, but the doors were normal height. And Mel saw how high the ceilings are, and he said, don't you wanna go a little bit higher on the doors? And I was like, you get busy when you're an owner builder and you don't think of these things. And of course, he was absolutely right. The higher doors are gonna make this room look so much more generous. So that was your, you know, years of experience, so that was great.
Yeah, usually because this is what we deal, you know, every day, custom homes, high-end projects. And when you have like tall ceilings, it's always good to go with taller doors, then the room feels bigger, because if you have, this is basically the standard height for a regular door, right?
Yeah.
So then still you feel like very like everything is close.
Yeah.
So that's the options that we have here, and that's, you know, what we like to bring to the table when it's owner builders, or even with our GCs that we're working with.
Yeah.
There is a few that they don't have a lot of experience on it, and then we try to input our knowledge and always, you know, give ideas. It's up to them, right, if they want to take it or not.
Yeah, no, it was helpful.
Yeah. What else will say that we also, you know, help you to achieve here, other ideas that we brought to the table and you were able to implement them here?
Well, maybe we can walk in here a little bit further. So one of the ideas you gave me, I had, and this was again on me, you know, this is gonna be our bathroom area in here. And you had, you know, talked about dropping the making sure that the showers were dropped properly. And the other issue was, I had initially thought, oh, let's put the tub over there and we'll put the toilet here. And you're like, I don't know how that's gonna look. And I was like, you're absolutely right. So now we're gonna put the tub here and we're gonna put the toilet over there, because when you're sitting here, you don't want to necessarily stare in a mirror. So
right, yeah. So we like to have this auction, because when on this type of homes, you don't want to have steps or two different levels on floor. So that's why we drop the entire bathroom, because everywhere you're gonna have tile. So there is 3/4 lower on the entire bathroom, and then the shower pan, we also drop those this area. So when they do the hot map and everything, then you do the connection on the tile there is no step or curve there, so you can go in and out of the bathroom very easy. So this is the ideas that we always like to implement and share with.
Well, there's another. I mean, it's a by far the nicer aesthetic thing to do. But the other thing that I like is, sometimes in Europe, and they also do this in Australia, they actually require, like on a commercial building, that even in residential homes, you actually have to put a drain in the center of the bathroom, which doesn't look that nice. But by having your dropped shower, if there's an overflow, it's gonna go right in there, right?
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, yeah. And so Felix, he's a happy client. We are very proud, to be part of this project. And also you are very involved in the rebuilding the Palisades. Can you share a little bit about what you are doing to bring the community back?
Absolutely. My wife and I have been literally since the first week. I was fortunate enough, I was out on my other property with 4 garden hoses, and was there for 3 hours until our water ran out, and luckily that was enough. I was literally standing in the flames. I ended up in the ER with smoke inhalation, and I was very lucky though that those 3 hours were enough to put out the flames on the property so that I got the worst part of the storm over. Unfortunately, my neighbors were not so lucky. I tried to save brush down below, but my other neighbor's house didn't make it, and then my neighbor across the street didn't make it. So, not only did we feel fortunate, but my wife and I just like to be involved in communities, so we've been involved in a number of the organizations. I've also started do myself a little plug here, Pali TV, which is not really a commercial venture, but is actually more of a, it's just for the community so that people can know and talk within the community and get information.
Right.
And so, we've just, we've been very involved with this, and I'm very happy because we have a very interesting community. There's one thing that I think is important to note also is that the wealthiest part of Pacific Palisades actually didn't burn. That's called the Riviera. What's unfortunate is that people who've lived here for generations, the worst affected was an area called the Alphabet Streets. I think close to 95, if not more than 95% of that burned. And those people need good solutions on how to come back, try and afford it. There are very challenging insurance issues, very high building costs. And I also want to mention that your prices were very fair, and I was happy about that. That was another thing that was a factor for me. And I was happy to hear that you're also talking to one of my neighbors who I know have an insurance issue, and so it's great to know that there's somebody doing good work at a reasonable price, and I feel wholeheartedly that I can recommend that. So
thank you. And thank you. I was part of the Pali TV.
Yes.
Thank you for having me there. And we are here helping the community. We are rebuilding 2 houses down the street, and the client, your neighbor that you were talking about, we're working with her also on that, because insurance, there is a challenge or a difference between what they got because of the house that was there, but today's cost or today's market is different, right? So there is always something that we need to work around to be able to adjust and be able to help them to come back to the community.
Right.
What will be the message for the community that you will share with them?
So the message that I have is, first of all, I think it's important to mention also for Pali TV, we don't do advertising or anything. So I didn't put you on as an advertisement. You weren't paying me anything. I wasn't paying you anything for that. The reason I felt comfortable having you is because, you know, we don't officially do a recommendation, but when somebody does good work, I can report somebody does good work. You know what I mean? It's like a news and information thing. So that's what makes me happy. I can report that you did a really nice job here. The message for the community is just don't lose hope. You know, don't lose faith in this process. It's a long one. We really, as it might sound corny and cliched, but we need to work together. And when we have a good experience with someone, let other people know about it. I think it's also important to let other people know if you don't have a great experience with somebody,
correct.
you know, and tell them, oh, you might want to watch out for this. That didn't go so well, you know?
Yeah, and based on your experience through the years building in different countries, what will you say is the most important areas that the owner need to focus or to check before to hire a contractor?
I think, so there are a number of factors. I think one is, you know, you need to make sure your plans or even if your plans are not written out, your plan has to be clear in your mind and you need to know exactly what you want to do as best you can. You don't want to have things change during the process. That's what makes it get more expensive, and it also makes it complicated for the contractor. And in my times that I've had unfortunate experiences, that's also when things can get expensive. And I have to say, I really like that you did your bidding so that you knew you had some wiggle room. Like, my door is going higher. You didn't charge me more for that, right? But you had that in your mind that that's something you can do. There are other contractors who will do that and they go, oh, change order, that's gonna cost you that. And so you have to be careful that you know that the person you're talking to and dealing with basically is giving you enough wiggle room that you're not going to get change orders after the too many, unless they're very clearly defined or a big deal. So that's a big one. You have to trust your gut. You know, that's an important one. But you also have to do a little bit of your research and talk to your neighbors and say, well, how did that experience go? You know, how did that work out? That combination of all those things, I think hopefully you find the best solution. And I think it's important to let other people know when you find somebody who does a really good job. You know, you have a lot of projects going, and I could tell. We were just talking about this before. There's an old-fashioned expression in English, the fish rots from the head down. Well, the reverse is true too. When you have a really good crew, you know that's because the person leading the crew is doing a good job and you hire good people. All the subcontractors that you've recommended to me, I go like, yeah, those are solid guys. You know, those are people that I would want to work with. So.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do. You know, I have a network of subcontractors that we work through the years. And that's the one thing, right? I would recommend only the guy that will be up to my standards, right? Because it's like that they are working for me, even though they deal directly with you or the other owners. So, but that's what I want, you know, to deliver what we promised from day one. And that's what we do also, because our experience when I came here the first time, everything was, you know, existing. So I saw the wood, how was it? Pretty much we have a new house, right? There is some wall here and there that we kept and floor joists, but then all the walls I already knew that we needed to demo, especially because the height will change and all of that. So, and it's part of what we already include on the proposal. And I always tell my clients or prospect, right, that to focus on what is exclude from the contract or the proposal, right? Because that's what is gonna cost money at the long run.
That's right. That's right. The other thing I'll just say is that, you know, you never sort of gave pushback when you saw like the lumber was old, and I had some concerns over the lumber because there had been ash in it and everything, and I thought, oh, I should, you know, take that all out. You actually just did it, you know what I mean? And that made it, like you said, I have essentially a new house. It's a newly framed house. There are definitely still some old things in, but there's a lot more new lumber than I ever expected, and it just went very smoothly, so.
You know, that's what we try to do. That's what we bring to the table, to have less headache for our clients.
Yeah.
Right? We'll take all the pressure and deal with that. And there is a lot of decisions on the way, and we always share that with, in this case, with you.
Yeah.
And it was easy to get an answer. Yeah, do it this way or do it that way, and then we'll make it happen.
Yeah. Well, we had a conversation a few weeks ago, and you said something interesting. Is like you don't look, because you've got a lot of jobs going, right? I think you must have at least 8 going right now, if not more.
Yeah. Well, through here in Altadena, we have about 20 projects.
20 projects.
Yeah,
okay, so I cut you way short.
Here in Palisades, we have 8 houses.
8 houses, but
yeah.
And you said you don't look at nickel and diming people on one thing. You look at the big picture, and I think that means you're a smart businessman, and that's why people keep coming back to you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's what we're here to help the community, and thank you for letting us be part of this project that you have here, and also thank you for all what you are doing with the community. And we are here for everybody that needs help, and hopefully we can also be part of that.
Well, thanks for helping us out. It made my life easier.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you for tuning in, and appreciate your support, and always be kind.
It's a good message. I like that.
Thank you.
Okay.